Next, I would like to ask you is that while you switched over from law teaching to law practice, did you have any challenges? Did you face any problems?
See, I did not face any problems for that matter.
Okay,
I did feel that I did not teach what was actually required for a professional. I realized that. In the sense, see, actual practice requires certain other things. And I felt when you have an experience as a lawyer, and if you go to teaching thereafter, you are much better equipped. And I thought that if I ever get a chance, I would write a book what I did not teach at the law school.
okay,
And I mean, that was the feeling that I got. Two, I used to argue my cases, having prepared them thoroughly well. The judgment comes. I used to feel when I read the judgment that I've contributed to that. In the sense, I write a research paper, it's published, I argue a case, the judge incorporates my arguments, and in that particular process, you had a feeling as if you have contributed in the growth of law, as a lawyer for that matter. The third thing was that when I found that some of the younger lawyers were doing so well, I used to encourage them. After they argue the matter and I'm waiting for my case, I would walk out of the courtroom along with that lawyer, pat him, and tell him that you have done very well. If you need any help, don't hesitate. Come over to me whenever you want any help. In due course of time, I have found many of them have been designated as senior advocates and even judges. That gives you a good feeling for that matter.
yeah,
See, the dilemma that I had when I switched over in 1991, and in 1994, first student of mine was elevated as a judge of Punjab and Haryana High Court. First, I mean, one of my students was elevated as a judge of the High Court. I would name him Justice Swatantra Kumar. He became a judge. Now, I thought, should I be arguing in his court or not? A feeling came, a dilemma,
yes,
which he was sworn in the morning. In the evening, I went over to him, met him, and I said, I'm in a dilemma. He could feel what I was feeling. He says, Dr. Gupta, what dilemma? You would do your duty, I would do my duty. Ever since then, I had no hesitation to appear before those particular judges who had been my students. And trust me, over these years, 100 and more than 100 judges, students of mine must have been elevated. This was a challenge, but then it was very interesting. Justice Jagdish Singh here, who became the Chief Justice of India, he was my student.
no,
And
yes. One change that is very clear in two rows, that as a teacher, you had your class of 50 and perhaps undergraduate, postgraduates, and you had to have satisfaction. And the challenge was that the subject for that day, for that session, you had to make them known and explain to them by maybe examples, further explanation, and all. While in the ropes of an advocate or senior advocate, you had to only satisfy one person, and that was the judge in front of you. So that's a great challenge to my mind. What
absolutely,
what would you say to that?
see, It was a great challenge. Let me share with you one or two incidents which took place. I was waiting for a case of mine. Another lady lawyer was arguing. It was Justice Singhvi's court, G.S. Singhvi's court.
Okay.
See, the judge was very angry with that lady lawyer. It was a proposition of Civil Procedure Code, CPC, as such, which was being argued. And in anger, the judge says to that lady lawyer, "Who taught you CPC?" I was sitting behind, waiting for my case. She looks back and says, "Dr. Gupta taught me Civil Procedure Code."
Good one.
Now, I had never taught CPC,
Okay.
but my response was, "My lord, even at that time, she used to commit the same mistake which is she committing today also." And
Okay.
Justice Singhvi smiled,
Okay.
and the tension was released as such.
Yeah.
Another incident, it was Justice G.R. Majitia's court,
Okay.
who, who was later transferred even to the Bombay High Court.
Right.
Now, a senior advocate was arguing a matter. And at that time, I had not been designated as senior. And Justice G.R. Majitia was never a student of mine. I
Okay.
was waiting for my case. And in that particular process, the judge was very angry with the senior counsel. There was a sharp
Exchange.
exchange as such. And I thought it is rather an ugly situation which should never happen in court. The judge says to the senior counsel, "I'll send you straight to the Burrell jail." We have a
Yes.
jail which is called Burrell jail. And the senior counsel was just about to respond. I stood up. I said, "My lord, please don't." And his reaction was, "Who are you to tell me that?" I said, "I'm nobody." But Shakespeare has said, a person who, see, the exact words were, let me recall that. See, Shakespeare was saying, he is wise who will not lose his. He is a person who should never lose a temper as such. In that particular process, I'm sure my Lord will not like to prove Shakespeare wrong. I'm not getting back the exact words of Shakespeare,
Okay. Fine.
but the process was in
Yes.
the sense, he is wise who will not lose his temper.
We'll include that in the description.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the judge said, "Yes, Dr. Gupta, I will not prove him wrong."
Okay.
And the tempers were,
It's a good one. Good one.
yes. See, such encounters did come
Yes.
up. I was arguing a matter before a bench who had been my student for that matter. The judge was not agreeing with me, and I was trying to persuade. The judge was very talkative. He would not let me
Continue.
continue and argue. He would be
Interrupt.
speaking, interrupt. In the sense, I was hardly able to argue what I wanted to argue. He was very talkative in the sense, out of 1 hour, he must have taken 50 minutes. I might have only got 10 minutes. And then he says, "Dr. Gupta, we have suffered you for more than 1 hour." I said, "My quota was only 10 minutes." He realized that. He allowed me to argue. Then the opposite counsel was called. He said, "Do you have to add anything to what Dr. Gupta has argued?" And my petition was allowed in that process. So you have to be persuasive. And to deal with talkative judges and silent judges is not an easy
Okay.
exercise.
Right.
Participating judges are the best kind of judges.
Yes.
Silent judge, you don't know what is weighing in his
What's
mind.
going in his mind?
Yes.
Yes.
And you don't know how to tailor your argument, how to really see. A lawyer is good if he can know the mind of the judge,
Yes.
can read the mind of the judge. That's very important.
Right.
And that, yeah,
Yes. Moving on. Some years later, after your practice at Punjab and Haryana, you move to Bhopal. Now, I bring you to Bhopal and please tell for the benefit of the viewers as to what is your most memorable impression as the director of National Judicial Academy, Bhopal.
is good. I like to share that. See, when I went there, I happened to be the fourth director and three directors prior to me. All the three were academic giants, Madhav Menon, Mohan Gopal, Pillai, all giants in the academic field. I was the one who had both the components, the academic and the professional. And therefore, a difference was sharp in that particular context. You would say, how? What difference? The first thing I did was what actually judicial education is. Converting the classrooms of the National Judicial Academy and the state judicial academies into courtrooms. See, the law, they know the judges come for training over there. Judicial education is something different. Senior judges come, share their experiences with the younger judges. The basic thing is to be a good judge, to shape a good judge. First of all, he must be a good human being. And it is in that particular context the judges have to be shaped based upon the experiences of senior judges. Judicial education is not contained in the books. It's only when senior persons, experienced judges come and share their experiences. That has been my first basic thing which I have done. I have laid down a definition of judicial education and how a good human being can be converted into a good judge. That is the
Okay.
purpose, the object of judicial education in that context. The next thing which I did over there, the course curriculum, structuring that. And in that particular process, it's not merely teaching of law, which had been the basic thing earlier. It's the application of law and therefore cultivating judicial minds judiciously. That was the main object of it. Another thing which I found was that relevance of the constitution to the district judiciary is utmost, and when the district judge is elevated as the judge of the high court, is truly in a dilemma. He has no background of the constitution. In a constitutional court, minus the constitution as such, is a difficult proposition. I introduced in each particular course relevance of the constitution to the district judiciary. Now let me share an experience here. This is very important. District principal judges across the country had come. I myself took that session. and I used to take that session in every particular program for
Yes.
that matter. After I finished, and there was good interaction, the district judge from Delhi, he says, "Sir, you are saying that the constitution is relevant to the district judiciary only because you have never been a district judge." That shook me totally. And that made me feel I need to do far more than what I'm doing
Okay.
to make the constitution relevant to the district judiciary.
Right.
I personally feel every state judicial academy should conduct courses both in constitution and administrative law for those particular senior district judges who are in the zone of consideration for elevation to the High Court. Is most relevant as such. Plus, of course, the entire district judiciary. You know what happens is their perception is since the district judges, district courts do not issue the writs as such, therefore the constitution is not relevant. Little realizing law laid down by the Supreme Court is binding on all courts, including the district courts. And therefore, its relevance is immense as such. The entire criminal law jurisprudence centers around Article 20, 21, 22 for that matter. All those concepts are ingrained in these articles.
Yes.
And therefore, I mean, I can go on for the relevance of the, but my
Yes.
basic issue is it should be realized that constitution is relevant for the district judiciary as such. Another thing which I did was I introduced public law lectures at the National Judicial Academy. What was that? We had regional conferences across the country in all the four zones for that matter. Now, each year we used to have a theme for the regional conferences. In the first year when I went over there, the theme was a role of courts in upholding the rule of law.
Okay.
Centering around that theme, in every regional conference, we would invite an accomplished senior judge of the Supreme Court or an accomplished law professor or a senior advocate to deliver that public law lecture on the theme of rule of law, different aspects to be covered. In my second year, the theme was strengthening the justice delivery system.
Okay.
And we had public law lectures in each
Yes.
regional conference. At the end of that, we published those lectures in a
For
book form.
greater dissemination. Yes.
That I feel is a major contribution that could be
Yes.
made at the National Judicial Academy. In fact, I also started another project over there. And the project was Assess in Quest of Complete Justice under the Indian Constitution, Article 142.
In quest of complete justice in the
That's
context of Indian Constitution. Yes.
that's right.
Quite relevant.
And I requested the best of minds in the country, judicial, academic, lawyers, and they made the contribution. I received the essays. But my term in the National Judicial Academy was short because of my age limitation.
Yes.
I thought the next one, all those essays were there, would
Yes.
publish a book, but it didn't materialize.
Yes.
Anyway, an effort was made
Right.
in that direction, which was very important to my mind.
Yes.
And another thing which I would say, the faculty over there would never take any session. We used to have the resource persons outside the academy. Every weekend, Supreme Court judges used to come. Judges from the high courts used to come. Chief justices also. The best of professors of law. The best of lawyers, for that matter. But they never would take a session at all. They would coordinate the program, each program. They would cull out the resource material for the benefit of the participants in each particular program. But they would not take anything. I started this practice. Each faculty member coordinating the program would also take a session. See, encourage them. They never thought that we could match with a judge of the Supreme Court or the best of a lawyer or the best of a academic mind. Encourage them. And I'm happy this practice now is going on.
Okay.
It has really carried forward. I enjoyed, I felt this is something contributory as such. And finally, before I end up with this particular aspect, they found a change in everything that a pure academician's approach and my approach for that matter. And Justice T.S. Thakur was asked to revisit the rules for the appointment of the director of National Judicial Academy. And henceforth, no pure academician has been appointed
Okay.
as the because see, judicial education is different from legal education.
Yes.
That's a clear situation for that matter. And in that context,
Right.
I feel I had in fact, another thing, Sri Lankan judges program I for the first time initiated over there, which I carried forward when I came to the Chandigarh Judicial Academy. In Chandigarh Judicial Academy, I had 8 different programs for the Sri Lankan judges. Now, in the National Judicial Academy, Bangladesh judges come, Maldives judges come. Bangladesh judges would have 1 week in the National Judicial Academy, 1 week in the Chandigarh Judicial Academy.
Okay.
And in Chandigarh Judicial Academy, for the JAG officers, 1 full month residential program, and I organized
Yes.
in Chandigarh. I probably shared this earlier also with you. And in that particular context, you know, the advantage of that was we were having a training, 1 full year training going on for the newly selected judicial officers. They had different classes, but they lived together, they dined together, they were together one, 1 full month.
Okay.
The bonding, the discipline, many things had to be learned by each other
Okay. Right.
together. That was the beauty of that particular program. I felt that something which is absolutely, see, with the United Nations uh, Office of UNODC, they have an office in Delhi, organized a mock trial on human trafficking in
Okay.
Chandigarh Judicial Academy. That was a very good, enriching experience for the judicial officers undergoing training. In the sense, 3 days exclusively devoted to that mock trial.
Okay.
The judicial officers, they were in that particular process,
Yes.
played different roles, argued, witnesses, evidence, everything was done. Ultimately, they wrote the judgment also. Foreign experts had come for that, and their report was so good that it can match with any judgment, not only nationally, internationally. They had covered the international law, they had covered the Indian law, they had covered it in such good language. I mean, I felt so good that this is the true training which needs to be
Okay.
imparted. And that mock trial became a model trial which was taken to other jurisdictions of the countries by UNODC.
Right.
So, huh, please.
Yes, we will continue